Hi everyone, welcome back to IT Endgame. This video is dedicated to exercises. We will test our opposition squares understanding. Keep in mind that puzzles are quite difficult. They are meant to educate us how to convert endgames into the positions and patterns that we learn. It might not be as easy. And sometimes you might have to go over them again and again and replicate these endgames on the chessboard with your friends or parents or your coaches and trainers, or just by yourselves until you completely understand. I'll be honest, sometimes even for me, reviewing some of these puzzles, it does take a couple of minutes to realize what's going on completely. But it will definitely make you better endgame players. So we will pause the puzzles, allocate 5 seconds to each puzzle. You can pause, try to solve them yourself. I strongly advise you try first to solve those puzzles by yourself and then go over the solution. Hopefully we won't miss important data, and it will help you realize what's going on in the puzzle in case that you didn't manage to solve them yourself. We begin with Salvioli puzzle. This one is strongly connected to opposition episode 1. Quickly display the layout in opposition episode 1, where the only way to make a draw for black is to get c7, and when white flanks he will take a position, and then every move that white tries, black will keep taking the corresponding square on c file, which is an opposition file, and the exchange will only bring a draw for black, for white, sorry, because he won't manage to win. Now going back to our puzzle, how would black manage to lead this position in that endgame? Because his best result will be a draw. If black will withdraw from white's side of the table, the white king will keep advancing, and then he will capture the b5 pawn. And it's similar to opposition 1, but white has this massive free pawn moves which give white free tempos, and that's not good. So what black tries to do is steal these tempos away from white. He will start by pushing b4. It's a bad idea for white to capture, so he will push forward. Now black has to push the pawn again. If he doesn't push the pawn again, he will lose the endgame, because he wants to get one more tempo from the a file pawn. So once he's pushing, white obviously will not capture the pawn. Then black withdraws, white captures the b pawn. We withdraw again. It will be wrong to push because white will simply push the pawn, advance the pawn. So we have to withdraw the king. White advances, and now we are very, very close to our endgame. So we go central line, white takes the opposition. Now if we push on c7, yeah, white, you might say he can use this tempo, but it won't bring anything because we get opposition. Now if white goes on a6, we take opposition, and white pushes, we do lose the opposition state. So going backwards, when we move our king, we will move our king to a7, and once white advances, then we go take opposition. He pushes the pawn, he lost the last tempo, and the position is similar or identical with opposition episode 1. Second puzzle by Winnick. It's a very, very interesting one. It took me some time to understand all the small fine details in this puzzle. Put it simple for us, what white has to do to win this endgame It's find a way to win opposition against black. And then this is very important detail. White has to take the black pawn, find a way to capture the black b pawn, and then manage to be fast enough so he can reach this position. So that when the black king will capture the g pawn, white can take his black pawn, and then it's a winning endgame. If white is only focusing on capturing the black pawn, but then he will lose his g pawn, it will not be enough for white to win, because as you can see, black has an f-file pawn, and even if white gets the queen before, those pawns lead to stalemate. A very tricky endgame. So how would white manage to do these things? First move obviously would be king to e4, but that it will be an easy defense for black at the moment, because he will take the corresponding square of opposition. Now when we move again, black again takes the 3 squares away opposition. Now things start to get interesting, because once we reach c6, and you can see we put pressure on b pawn, you might tend to believe that for black the right defense will be taking again the 3 square opposition. But just to show you, once we capture the pawn, black starts chasing our pawn, we have enough time to reach the black pawn, or even here. So when he takes, we can take his pawn. So this will be a wrong move. That's why black is moving to g5. You might question, why isn't black going to g4? Yes, of course he can do that. Yeah, but then we will go to d6. So g4, d6, and again, if he's trying to attack, we bring our king closer to his pawn. So once we do this, black goes to g. Now we take opposition again. Yeah, and this is very interesting, because if black decides to go to g4, his best move, we have the next available move. How can we relocate our king now without giving black the option of taking opposition? Obviously he will gain opposition here. You might tend to believe this is a good move, but the right move will be king to d6. And if black tries to go here, we simply take opposition. And once we reach this opposition state, no matter where black goes, everything will lead to this alignment of the kings. When if black goes away, we gain the pawn. If black goes on g4, we flank, and then we just force the black to take our pawn and win the game. So going backwards, we move to g4. The only good move for black now, I mean his best move, because it's not actually a good move, would be going to h5. But how can we take opposition now? That'll be very simple. And we take opposition again, and now black unfortunately will not manage to defend his pawn any longer. Doesn't matter where he goes, we will win the opposition. If he goes g5, we reach again the same state. If he goes g4, again we win the position, and he backwards, we end up in the same situation. How about if black will go g4, you might ask? It looks like he's made a good move, yeah? But then remember that diagonal move when we push our king back but diagonal? How can black defend this position now? Because again, the only option, you might be like, oh, black can get diagonal position, but we managed to do the flanking. Black will push, and it's game over.